This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
One thing that some folks have issues with in terms of like tube screamers, blues drivers and some of these other types of pedals is that they don't necessarily have enough gain on tap to really get you into some of the territory that you might want to get into. The Suhr Riot, I think, is somewhat based on a Marshall Governor and not totally dissimilar from the JHS Angry Charlie, that sort of pedal. For that reason, can basically do really kind of pretty high gain, crunchy rhythm tones or really great lead tones. I just plugged it in last night. This is Jake's kind of little mini Suhr Riot. He has this on his board gigging, and I think both of us kind of don't necessarily love the form factor of a mini pedal. They can sometimes be a little bit tricky to mount on a board and then they sort of flip to the side and stuff. But this one really does sound pretty good, I think. Let's jump in and look at some of the tones from it. I think the original Riot came out around 2011, something like that. We've got tone, level, distortion, as well as a voice control. The voice control on this one is two-way. I think on the bigger pedal it might be three-way. But yeah, let's dive in. So let's not mess around too much. This is the Suhr Riot. Here's my clean tone. Playing a Strat into an HX Stomp is basically like a kind of Fender Twin type. So just fully clean, and this is apparently where people tend to get the best results from the Suhr, is not necessarily into a Marshall style amp because you're sort of stacking Marshall on top of Marshall, but in front of a Fender amp where you've got a bit of a scooped kind of thing going on. Hopefully you'll get some really nice results.
So that's kind of the extent of the drive there. And you can see the voice switch probably doing something clipping, because essentially what it's doing is it's quieter to the right. So, you know, a lot of gain on tap. If we turn the distortion way down, it keeps very much that same kind of Marshall energy. Tone, got a fair range. So some amount of tone shaping there. It's really kind of just taming the top end. So if you had a really bright amplifier, I guess you could get some use out of this still. Says from smooth and warm to cutting lead. So sample settings, we've got classic crunch, so distortion at about 2, voicing to the left, tone about halfway, and level pushing quite a bit. So we get we move the voicing. Definitely more gain to the right. Modern rock rhythm, if we keep the distortion up about halfway, apparently this sort of thing. And then it says vintage high gain. We take the tone up a little bit, and I think keep the level around where it is. Again, our clean tone sounds like this. And because we've got so much gain on tap in there, I think you can really get some pretty nice So This, I think, is a really ideal candidate for adding sort of a pretty high gain, sort of kind of like an amp channel to whatever you've got going on. So again, for me and Jake, sometimes we're really big fans of a tube screamer, that sort of thing, but it doesn't really get you far enough into some of this rock territory if you're going into a clean pedal platform or a clean whatever. So this, however, or something Marshall Governor-ish, can take you into that space where you can really get some good chunky kind of big kind of hair metal, maybe rock chunk. It's got kind of a whole gamut of this kind of thing where you can just really go crazy, and from this level of distortion, so there I guess you could be using it as like a boost maybe. Really, it wants to be giving you some chunk. So yeah, that to me is doing a really decent job of essentially just chucking out a ton of, you know, gain. Does it sound pretty amp-like? I think so. I think at this stage it's a little bit of a classic. You know, the Suhr Riot has been cloned by Joyo. I remember that one. I've not really tried one until now, but I'm really impressed with it. And you know, for a pedal this size to add that much kind of meat to your signal, I think pretty cool. So let me know if you found a use for the Suhr Riot. You're a fan of these. I think for people that are playing rock for sure into clean amps, this might be a real game changer maybe. I don't know. Cheers for now.